Cervical cancer treatment is done. I'm healing. I went back to work and everything seemed to be going pretty well. A year after my last treatment, I had my last treatment was in November of 2018. So November of 2019, I had some blood when I was urinating. So I didn't know if that was quite right. And of course, bleeding could be a sign of reoccurrence, so it freaked me out a little bit, but I wasn't going to jump to conclusions. So after the initial freak out, calmed myself down. I said, okay, I'll contact the doctors. So I called the nurse hotline and they told me to go to urgent care. So I ended up going to urgent care, and I work evenings, so by the time I got there, it was like midnight. So the good thing is no one else was there. So they did some tests and did a CT scan and did some blood work, and they just figured that I must have a UTI with the bleeding. But one of the weird things is I had this weird pain in my cervix area. Didn't really know what that was. I would find out later. The pain wasn't that bad. It was a little achy, but nothing that I need medicine for or anything. So went home, started the antibiotics, didn't think anything of it. Then a month later, I started experiencing this pain. And it was, in the beginning, it wasn't that bad. But as time went on, it got worse and worse. And at one point, it was once a month. Then it became once a week. And then it became like every other day. And then it would go on for 4 days straight. I'd be okay for a day, and then it would start up again. And it was excruciating. I was in so much pain. At one point, I was in so much pain. So went to the emergency room, and they did a CT scan, and the only thing that they could come up with is that it looked like I had a fusion of my intestines to my uterus, and it caused a fistula. Yeah, so I was a little bit nervous about that. So after the weekend is over, I contacted my regular gynecological oncologist, told her what was going on, and she said, okay, looks like we're going to have to do a hysterectomy. She contacted a gastroenterologist, and they got on board, because not only was I going to have a hysterectomy, but I was also going to have some type of surgery done on my intestines to fix the issue. She wanted me to have an MRI so that they can get a clearer picture of what was going on down there. So I went and had the MRI done, and then the next day or two, my doctor called me up and said, I have some good news. It's not what looked like was going on in the CT scan, because the CT scan looked like I had a fistula, but the MRI showed that there was no fistula, yay! But I had an enlarged uterus, and it looked like I had blood on the inside. After radiation, the radiation caused scar tissue, so my cervix stuck together. So I was having blood build up in my uterus, and my cervix was trying to open to get the blood out. It couldn't open. So basically, all those pains, I felt like I was in labor. I was having labor pains because it just could not open. It was trying harder to open. Nothing was happening. On top of the labor pains, the radiation changed my nerves down there. So I was also suffering from nerve pain. So I was having nerve pain on top of labor pain. It was very painful, as you might imagine. So with that, instead of having a hysterectomy, she wanted to try something a little bit simpler. And instead, I went under anesthesia, and she opened up an opening in my cervix to let that stuff out. They did a CT scan to make sure everything in my uterus was out, and then we'll see how things go from there. I've had that about 7 weeks ago. I did have some bleeding afterwards, and I'm still having a little bit of bleeding. My doctor isn't sure yet what was causing all the blood in my uterus. She said it could have just been a slow buildup over time, that my body might be reacting to the hormone replacements that I'm having, and it's stimulating my body to produce blood and things like that. So my uterus is doing it, but it can't come out. So that might be backlogging it. So we're going to have to see. Hopefully that doesn't come back, because that pain was excruciating. and I don't want to have to go through it again. But my doctor said it's very rare and she sees it once every few years. So it happens, but not seen quite frequently. And I happen to be one of the lucky ones. So that was one of the strange side effects I had, other than the ears ringing. Hopefully that will be the last of my side effects. Hopefully, but I'm expecting more to come. But as of right now, that's mostly it. So thank you for joining my little after radiation story, and I will see you next week, and I hope you have a good one. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, let me know what you want me to talk about. I'm here for you. Thanks. Bye.